Minecraft is a game about collecting things. After you play a while, you end up with a storage room filled with all of the things you have collected. To make storage easier, Minecraft players use item sorters. These are redstone contraptions that automatically channel all of your inventory into the chest where you want to store it. Large sorting arrays may look complicated, but in reality it is really just the same small sorter repeated over and over again. In this video I am going to show you how to build the sorter. Many versions of this sorter do not work perfectly on Bedrock, but the one I am going to show you works very well with Bedrock. It also works well with Java, but I don't use Java, so I'm going to show how to do it in Bedrock. I start with a target block. Place a red torch on one side of the target block. Build a frame around the target block using glass blocks. The one in the middle is temporary. I remove it when I'm done. Place 3 redstone dusts on top of these 3 glass blocks. Point a comparator into the top red dust. This is all of the redstone for the sorter. Now it is just a matter of placing the hoppers so they are configured correctly. A line of hoppers will begin directly above the red torch and go out towards your storage chests. Then a hopper is pointed directly into the comparator. You can see that they point in opposite directions. These two are the only ones necessary. The rest are so that you can move your chests away from the sorter. Now you need a way to move all of your items across the top of this automatic sorter so that they can get pulled into the sorting mechanism and then put into your chests. I normally build a line of hoppers to do this job. At the end of the supply line, place a chest to collect all of the items that did not sort. At the beginning, place a chest where you're going to put your new items in that need to be sorted. This is a very simplistic supply line, but any supply line you build will have an input and an output. Finally, run the bottom hopper into the chest that you'll be storing your sorted items. Now you can see I have an input chest, I have a chest for all the unsorted items, and I have a chest for the sorted items to go into. To make your auto sorter work, you need an item with a unique name. Use an anvil to bring an item in and give it a unique name. I am renaming a stack of cobblestone to null. The hopper that is pointed into the comparator is the one that you use to set up your auto sorter. It has 5 slots. Place that newly named unique item in the last 4 slots, 1 per slot. Because you are never going to send this unique item down your supply line, you have basically turned off these 4 slots and made this a 1-slot hopper. Finally, you set up the entire sorter by picking the item that you want to sort. You can sort nearly any item in Minecraft. The only condition is it has to be stackable. Open up the hopper that is pointed into the comparator and place a stack of the item you want to sort into the first slot. If you place enough items, the redstone torch below the bottom hopper will turn off. That means that the hopper will pull items out of the top hopper and push them into the chest. I originally placed 64 cobblestone in this, now I have 41. The rest are in my storage chest. Now I can grab all kinds of items and put them into the supply chest. If the item I grab is cobblestone, it will go into the top hopper. That will trigger the redstone torch to turn off. It will pull the item through and put it into my storage chest. If the item I choose is not cobblestone, it will not get pulled into the top hopper, and it will continue through to the overflow chest on the far right. As you can see, items are flowing through the supply line. They are not pulled into the sorter, they go into the overflow. The cobblestone I sent through all ended up into my storage chest. So now you can see the sorter. It is not complicated, just a few blocks, very little redstone. But this just sorts one thing. You usually want to sort a lot of things. That's easy to do. Just build another auto sorter right next to the first one. I have a second chest and a second sorter that is exactly the same as the first one. The only difference between these two sorters is what I place into this one hopper, where I place 4 items that have a unique name and a different stackable item that will go into this storage chest. Just like before, placing a lot of items into this turns off the red torch and sends the items into the storage chest. Because I am sorting cobblestone and torches, if I place cobblestones or torches into this supply chest, those will go into the sorter and go into the correct chest. Anything else is going to go into the overflow chest. You can see that these blocks are going through the supply line and into the overflow chest. When it finishes this stack of blocks, it will move on to the next stack. Those will get sorted into the proper storage chests. You can see them going down into the first hopper, down below that, turning the red lamp torch on and off, and then they end up in the storage chest. I am sorting just 2 items here, but there's not really much of a limit. You can put as many item sorters as you want side by side and sort as many items as you want. And as I said, this works very well on Bedrock. It has to do with timing. That redstone torch blinks on and off very quickly as the comparator sees items coming in, and it sends them off to the storage chests. To understand why this is good for Bedrock, you have to understand that hoppers have 2 actions. They pull items from above. They also push items out. There is a different design that you will often see. It can use any solid block. It does not need to have the target block, but it still has a red torch. The key difference with this design is that it uses a repeater. The repeater is directing the redstone signal into the block to turn off the torch. That is exactly what the target blocks are doing. Notice that it uses solid blocks. I like to use glass. It doesn't make much of a difference for most of the blocks here. To make room for the repeater, I have to push the redstone dust line out just 1 block. It still has 3 lines of redstone dust, just like the original design that I showed you. To avoid a 4th line of redstone dust, a solid block is placed directly after the comparator. Yes, I know I accidentally placed a repeater on top instead of a comparator. I'll fix that in just a moment. I'm connecting a line to a new storage chest just like before. As you work on large arrays of sorters, you spend a lot of time trying to get into a position that you can put things exactly where you want them. I put the controlling hopper in the same position pointed into the repeater. And then, luckily, I examine my work and realize one of these things is not like the other. That repeater is not a comparator. And there you go. Once you set it up, this will work just like the other sorter. It sends a signal down, it goes into the repeater, turns off the torch, and sends item into the storage chest. But this repeater is a problem. Sometimes the events on the repeater block the events on the hoppers, and items go through the main supply line and do not go into the top hopper. So in Bedrock, you end up with some items that should end up in your storage chests ending up in your overflow chests. The solution is to avoid using a repeater. That is a Bedrock safe auto sorter system. I hope you like it. But that's not all. For those who want the gory details, here's a diagram that I can walk through. Hopper A here is the supply line. Items travel through Hopper A. If the item in Hopper A is also in Hopper B, then Hopper B will pull the item down from Hopper A as it travels by. Once Hopper B has at least 46 items in it, it will emit a redstone signal of 3. That will light up all 3 redstone lines going from the comparator C down to the target block D. Once target block D receives a redstone signal, it will turn off the attached redstone torch. The redstone torch is disabling Hopper E. When the redstone torch turns off, Hopper E becomes active and pulls an item from Hopper B. Once Hopper B has less than 46 items in it, the redstone signal will not be at level 3, therefore D will not turn off the torch. The torch turns back on and disables Hopper E. When disabled, Hopper E stops pulling items from Hopper B. Hopper B will sit and wait until another item in Hopper A can be pulled down into it. That will bring the quantity up to increase the redstone signal, unlocking Hopper E, pulling an item from Hopper B, and starting the entire process over again. In a full sorting system, Hopper E will be attached through a line of some sort into a chest so that you can get your items. Now I want to focus strictly on the redstone signal. In this diagram, there is a hopper at the bottom with 5 slots. The first slot has 41 items. There is 1 item in each of the other slots. A comparator is attached to the hopper. It is currently emitting a redstone signal of strength 2. There are 3 lines of redstone dust between the comparator and the target block at the top. The target block is not being activated by an active redstone signal, therefore the redstone torch attached to the block is currently lit up. By adding 1 item to the hopper, it now has 46 items in it. That gives it a signal strength of 3. That signal strength of 3 reaches the target block. Energized, the target block now turns off the redstone torch. In the sorter, turning off the torch causes a hopper to pull from this main hopper, reducing the number of items back to 45. That decreases the signal to 2 and turns the torch back on again. Notice that this design requires you to keep 41 items that you want to sort in the hopper at all times. Some people prefer to put 41 items that you don't want to sort, those filler blocks on the right, in there, so you only need 1 item of the item you want to sort. To understand why that is not a good idea, we first have to look at how 2 sorters sitting side by side interact with one another. Each of these sorters has 45 items in them. Each of them is emitting a redstone signal of 2. Neither one of the target blocks is activated and both red torches are on. When one sorter gets 46 items, it emits a redstone signal of 3. Because redstone signals cannot travel diagonally, there is no way that the signal of 3 from the left sorter can make it to the target block on the right sorter. Therefore, the sorters do not truly interact with one another. If I use 41 of the filler blocks and only 1 of the item I am trying to sort, you can see that right now both of these sorters are emitting a redstone signal of 2. If only 1 item were added, it would not cause any harm. But what if something happens and 25 of the items you're trying to sort make it into your sorter? It will then emit a redstone signal of 4. At level 4, that redstone signal is going to turn off the redstone torch on the neighboring sorter, causing it to incorrectly start dumping what it is holding. In a worst-case scenario, the neighboring sorter will lose all of its items and start pulling everything in from the supply line. That is why we stick with this system, where we keep 41 of the items we're trying to sort in the sorter at all times, then we will not have a problem if the sorter fills all the way up to 64 items, because at that point the signal is still only going to be 3. It will not become 4 and then incorrectly start dumping the neighboring sorter. Now you know how to build a sorter that works very well with Minecraft Bedrock. It works in Java as well. You also know how it works. Why do we have 41 items in it? Why do we have those 4 extra items inside of it? You also know why we don't follow the method of putting only one item we want to sort in it and then filling up the items we don't want to sort to pad it to a total of 45 items. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below.